Sometimes a mechanic gets a lot of support in a short amount of time, and the opinions are usually divided on this, feeling that a lot of the time some mechanics get more attention over the others. Morphin Manifest, for example, both got support last year with Disguise in Karlov Manor, Manifest and Commander Masters, and Manifest Dread and Duskmourn. Another one that happened recently is Energy, being a major theme of a Fallout precon, as well as a major theme in Modern Horizons 3, as well as a theme in an Aether Drift precon. I personally like it a lot. It's always so boring to me when a playstyle or mechanic or type or whatever only has one real commander, and so everyone that wants to play that theme either has to use the same commander as everyone else and build nearly the same deck as everyone else, or they have to find an only semi-related commander just for the sake of being different. That's kind of where Energy is for me. Yes, it's gotten 3 precons recently, but I feel they've tweaked enough each time to make it so if you want to play an Energy deck, you now have a multitude of options, and to me, options is always a good thing. The one we're going to be talking about today is Saheeli Radiant Creator. I'll be honest with you guys and say that this video was originally on a commander I've been eyeing, Mishra Eminent 1, but then this gal got revealed, I thought it over, and decided to make her instead since they're so similar. This video was originally going to come out in like February or March, but it kept getting pushed back by other things. But better late than never, I guess. We'll go over the commander, discuss our goals and playstyles, do a bit of a card by card, and then playtest some hands after showing off the deck. Note that, as always, I'm not an expert. This is just how I built the deck and the cards that I run. Cards I dislike, you can like. Cards I like, you can dislike. With that being said, let's get into the commander. Saheeli Radiant Creator is a legendary human artificer that costs 1 in Temur and reads, whenever you cast an artifact or artificer spell, you get an energy counter. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you can pay 3 energy to make a copy of another permanent you control as a 5/5 artifact creature, but you have to sacrifice it at the end of your turn. In case you don't know, energy is a mechanic from Avishkar and is very simple. They're counters that you get to use as a resource to activate abilities by paying them. A lot of people I've seen dislike this mechanic as it makes turns a lot longer since you also have to keep track of how much energy you have and do math as to how much you're paying versus how much you have and how much you need for the turn. But I really like it. It gives you something different to think about, something new to keep track of, and it's just a cool mechanic in my opinion. And I'm glad that it's come back and even got multiple commanders you can pick to match what you like. Saheeli, despite seeming a bit simple, has a lot to unpack. You get an energy counter on cast, not as an ETB, so revival and tokens don't count, and it lets you copy any permanent you have. Lands, creatures, enchantments, artifacts, anything. So there's a lot of ways to build this deck, which I like. You can go loads of different routes. You can lean fully into energy and copy the energy payoffs. You could go more artificer typal with big artifacts to copy. You could just do energy mixed with good stuff to copy. But what we're going to do with is, fittingly, vehicles matter.
Wait a minute. Oh shit. Squidward! Squidward, move! Squidward, the truck's coming! Oh my god, he has headphones on! He can't hear us! Oh my god, Squidward, move! You're gonna die!
If you copy a vehicle with her ability, it becomes a creature that no longer needs to be crewed to attack, so any vehicle with good ETBs or combat damage effects will be made a ton better with her. So the deck is going to be energy focused, with energy production and energy payoffs, as well as big and cool vehicles to copy. Let's start with energy production, I guess. Okay, so this is one of those sections that's difficult, since most cards that produce energy also pay energy. I tried my best to put these in the correct category, but you're going to have to bear with me on this one, and don't call me mean names if one of these belongs in another category, or you'll make me cry and be sad and stuff. Aetherwind Basker is a massive lizard friend that can get you some insane energy numbers. You do play a decent bit of thought to production, as well as a decent bit of little guys, and since you can copy it with your commander, that can double up very easily. Just having 2 Thopters out and copying this can get you up to 6 energy, since you paid to copy it, which can help with your finishers. It, in and of itself, is also a great finisher, and since it generates on attack, you can pay the energy you just got from it, and can easily make this a massive trampler. Architect of the Untamed and Royal Cartographer are both landfall get an energy basically, and both have a different payoff. There's enough ramp in here to make it work, and you can add even more if you want to focus on cards like these more. Architect's payoff is the worst of the two in my opinion. 8 energy to get a decent token isn't terrible or anything, it's just 8 energy for it's not the best use for your energy. World's Draw is much better and much more worth your energy, but both are worth running in my opinion. Aurora Shifter is one of the harder ones to categorize, but we'll throw it in here. It doesn't really matter much. It gets you energy equal to the damage it deals, and if you do have a massive vehicle out, you can make this a copy of it and get a ton of energy, and copying something like Aetherwind Basker can make you get 7 energy from its trample, plus the added energy from both Aetherwinds if you have 2 of them out. At worst, you can copy the 5/5 token your commander makes. It's a really fun card that can easily get you stacked up on energy really quickly. Imperial Voyager is basically the same, but it has Flying and Trample and doesn't have a copy effect. There's enough ways to make this a bit bigger, and Flying Trample's a nice combination to ensure you'll probably get something by if you'll boost it enough. It's a pretty good card. Overclocked Electromancer can become absolutely massive, and excess damage gets you energy, and even making a 5/5 copy of it and not making the original big gets you a 10/10 that will get you a fuckload of energy. It's a great card, and a really fun one in my opinion. Pima Aetherseer can get you some big energy stock, especially if you copy it with your commander and get, at minimum, 5 energy for paying 3. In a pinch, you can also use her as second effect to get rid of an annoying creature or something, I guess. Pima Trailblazer can get you some good energy if you make it big enough with another ability, or, if you copy it, a 5/5 that can get you more energy than you paid for. Its exhaust effect is also a great one, giving you a large draw outlet while also making it decently bigger. Pima Pants... Wait, who put that in the... For fuck... PNLR gets energy whenever an artifact creature deals damage, which is good for us since we have a lot of vehicles. And it can turn your excess energy into massive vehicles too. I really like her, but understand if you don't. Rampaging Aetherhood is a bit of a mana sink, being 5 mana, but its energy production can get a bit crazy if you buff it up enough. I kinda wish it was the end step, so its copy from Saheeli would help, but as is, it's fine. Also, it's an okay thing to spend energy on to get a big trampler, and its ward can make it an alright investment since it has protection and you don't have to worry about paying 30 energy for something only for it to get immediately removed. Aetherflux Conduit costs a lot, but it gets you a lot of energy for just casting spells and... Okay, so I highly doubt that last effect will come up, but I suppose it theoretically could, so if you can get to 50 energy and feel like spending it all on this, it's a fine game ender that can instantly win some games. 6 mana may be a lot, and it may take a bit to pay for itself, but I still like it. Aetheric Amplifier is one of the ways you could get to that 50 energy for Conduit. There's not tons to say about it, it's just an easy way to stack up energy fast. Its other effects for your permanents could come up if you happen to have something you need to make bigger, but it's a bit less important in terms of its 2 effects. Aether Refinery is a huge costed spell, but its payoff of doubling all your energy production is great. You haven't lived until you quadrupled your energy to absurd numbers by having this and Amplifier out, or even more with copies of it out. It feels so good, dude. Conversion Apparatus lets you convert energy into mana and mana into energy, which can be really helpful in a pinch. There's probably better mana rocks, but I think this one's okay. Electrosiphon is a great counterspell, and it's really cool design in my opinion. It encourages you to counter a massive spell to get a ton of energy from it, but sometimes you have to consider the amount of energy you'll get compared to the mana you spent on it. I don't know, it just feels cool to me. Glimmer of Genius is a basic draw spell, but it's still a good one. Scry 2, draw 2 for 4 mana is perfectly fine in my opinion, and the addition of getting 2 energy is all a nice bonus. There's better draw cards, but this one's good. Most people would probably put Gonti's Aetherheart in the payoff category, but getting 2 energy for each artifact at ETBs is really good, especially with as much artifacts as we're playing, and Saheeli making copies, getting you some energy payback from what you paid with her ability. The extra turn is obviously really good, but it's the kind of thing you save for a big push for the end in my opinion, and the energy production part of it is more important to me, but you can copy with Saheeli to use this extra turn effect over and over again. Is It Generatorium is a cheap way to get a little more energy each time, and is an alright draw outlet, since it doesn't pay mana to draw, and is just an incidental draw. It's not the best card ever or anything, but I like it. Stone Idol Generator gets you a ton of mana very fast, since it's when a creature attacks, and has an alright payoff of making a massive golem. 5 mana is a decent bit of mana, but I like it enough for that not to be an issue personally. As for the runs I don't run, but you can, Aether Squall Ancient gets you 3 energy each turn, basically making your Saheeli's effect free each turn, and also has an okay board-wide bounce effect. It's 7 mana, which is a bit too much in my opinion. Aethertide Whale is weird. As an ETB, it basically turns the 6 mana you spent on it into 6 energy and has a self-bounce effect to redo it. I just feel without a blink aspect to the deck, or an easy way to cheat it out each turn, I'm not as into it. Dynavolt Tower could be a great card if you play a lot of instants and sorceries, but we're not really a spellslinger strategy. It's not the best because of that. Its second effect is awful. 5 mana for 3 damage is not good at all in my opinion, especially since it taps itself, so you can't even repeat it multiple times in a turn without jumping through hoops. Arrow of Innovation is fine if you paid an extra mana, which isn't the best, but it's not terrible. Straw Effect is also fine if you have a lot of energy left over. Decoction Module is alright if you play a lot of small creatures to stock up with, but we don't really do that often. It pays for one of the 3 energy you paid for Saheeli's effect at least, but our deck isn't really about playing a lot of small boys, it's about playing a bunch of big vehicles. Glassbore's Puzzle is fine, it's fine. It's a scry 2 and gets you 2 energy as an ETB, and lets you repeat it for 3 mana, which is fine. I feel like it doesn't do enough though. Robo Brain Warmind can get you a lot of energy if you play more artifact creatures than we do, or if you have a lot more of a focus on Thopters. But ours isn't that really, so we're not running it here. I have nothing to say about Tune the Narrative. I have nothing to say about Woodweaver's Puzzle Knot. Okay, now for the cards that we're going to use the energy for. Amtraptor is a risky card since you could exile something you need but can't afford energy-wise, but I feel if you play it wisely and don't cast it when you have like 2 energy or something, it's a good card. It apparently ruined other formats, so it must at least be pretty good here, right? Assaultron Dominator can get your creatures a load of counters and can make for easy finishers. It can only put it on the attacking creature sadly, and only works on artifact creatures, but giving one of your big vehicles trample or first strike can be really insane. I like it. Bespoke Battle Wagon is a basic little pocket knife type card with multiple uses, turning excess energy into tapping down a guy or drawing a card. I don't think you're ever going to use the last effect to turn it into a creature, especially not here where you can get a copy with Saheeli that's only 1 toughness smaller if you needed to, and the Mana Dork-like ability gives you something to do if you don't have a ton of energy. You can even use the token copy to use a second effect of it each turn if you need. It's a versatile card and I recommend it. Lightning Runner is a great finisher, getting you a second combat, and if you have a lot of energy, you can use Saheeli's effect for a second time in the same turn. Not much else to say, extra combats do be good. Nissa World Soul Speaker lets you cast any permanent for 8 energy instead of mana, and has a decent landfall ability to boot. Some of our vehicles or artifacts are huge mana-wise, and can even make running some of the 5 to 8 mana energy cards like Aethertide Whale a more justifiable option. Aether Spike is a fine counterspell. At worst, it counters any spell unless they pay 2 or more mana. At its best, you can just ensure you counter anything. Not a card with a lot to talk about. Aetherworks Marvel gives you a decent bit of energy. While we're not a deck that aristocrats or anything, it can get you some okay energy on the side. Its second ability is the main draw here. 6 energy isn't all that much, all things considered, for a free spell, and while sometimes you do whiff by only getting lands, you're almost always bound to get something, even if it's a small spell. I like it, but you guys know me, I'm a sucker for this and Discover and Cascade and stuff like that. Phyrexian Ironworks doesn't do much in terms of energy gain, and most do get 3 energy a turn since it's when you attack, but it's an alright outlet to get an okay token for some decent board presence. It's not the best card ever or anything, it's good enough in my opinion, but I'd understand cutting it. Primal Prayers is a great card, letting you cheat in smaller creatures for energy while also giving them all flash. You can turn a hand of small creatures into filling the board for basically free, and can also abuse any good ETBs on other players' turns. I've even seen people get saved from dying after someone board wiped by just casting a small chump blocker. It's versatile, it's fun, and 4 mana is cheap enough for this kind of effect. I really like it. Volatile Stormdrake is a very weird card. At worst, if you don't have enough energy, this basically lets you get rid of a problem creature without destroying it, and giving your opponent a 3/2 flyer with weirdly specific protection, but whatever. At best, you can steal an opponent's game-ending creature and cheese out a win. At first, I didn't like it since I was scared of giving away a 3/2 flyer with protection, but after playing with it a bit, it's a fun card I like. You can even use it for political purposes, giving a player a better creature than they had in order to help them out. I don't know if Aether Hub counts, but it turns an energy into a colored mana, and I forgot to mention it in the script originally. It's fine. As for ones you could run that we don't, okay, look, there's not going to be a lot of these. Energy doesn't really have loads of payoffs, and we're running like 99% of the good ones already. So here we go. Aether Torch Renegade is not that good in my opinion, but it can be an alright finisher. I just don't think 8 energy for 6 damage once a turn is worth it. I could see situations where you can end a game with pinging with it, but it's not worth it in my opinion. Blaster Hulk is a massive 8/8 that you can cast for only 2 mana. It's a good card, but I feel its second ability hasn't ever felt worth 8 energy to me, and we have other big creatures. Bristling Hydra's fine. It's fine. Turning 3 energy into a +1/+1 counter on a hexproof for a turn isn't the worst thing you can spend your energy on. I just don't think it's good enough, and it genuinely is a feels bad moment to spend energy on this, only to get it removed on a later turn, and without any trample or evasion, it can easily just be chump blocked. I'm not a fan, but I can see why someone else would be. I like Electrostatic Pummeler way more. Doubling its power instead of just getting a counter can make for an excellent finisher, and making a copy of it with Saheeli and getting a 10/10 out of it with its ability before you even make it bigger with another card is a nice and scary sounding situation. It can still be chump blocked easily, but the additional artifact synergies and it getting big with only 3 energy feels better to me. I'd rather pay 3 energy to make a 5/5 a 10/10 for a turn instead of paying 3 energy to make a 5/5 a 6/6 permanently. I just don't have room for it, but I'd totally add it if you have room for it. Long Tusk Cub is the same card for a third time, but at least it pays for its own ability when it does damage. There's not much to say here that I didn't say about the last 2 cards. It's an alright card. Territorial Aether Kite. I said Hell Kite every single time I referred to this card's name. I apologize. Hellkite is fun. It can turn your excess energy into a board wipe, leaving you with a 6/5 haste creature too, but for 6 mana and it wiping your own board, I don't know. If you like it more than I do, go for it. Whirler Virtuoso can fill your board with Thopters, but I feel 3 energy for a 1/1 isn't that amazing of a payoff unless you hoard heck tons of energy, but I can see it being a great way to get board presence. Unstable Amulet lets you impulse draw to get a bit ahead advantage-wise. It could be a fine way to dish out some extra burn damage, but you aren't going to cast stuff from places other than your hand a lot otherwise, so it's not the greatest ability. The impulse draw is nice. I'm just scared of exiling my own stuff, as I've mentioned in previous videos. I'd say go for it if you like it. It's a good card, especially if you put some Cascade stuff or maybe a bit of an impulse draw engine. Okay, I think that's everything. Now that we're done with energy, we'll move on to a secondary aspect of the deck, the vehicles. Boosted Sloop is normally a pretty okay draw outlet, but coming it with Saheeli to have a 5/5 with Menace that also gets you a draw 2 pitch 2 every turn is a pretty great draw outlet. It doesn't even need to attack to trigger, so you can just treat it like a normal artifact if you don't want to risk it getting killed. I really like it. Deluxe Dragster is a great card. It being unblockable by non-vehicles is already pretty great. It stealing a card from an opponent's graveyard is pretty great, and getting to do it with a 5/5 copy to trigger it twice every turn is pretty great. You can even steal any instant of sorcery, and it permanently gets rid of it. It's one of my favorite cards in the deck, and is just insane to me. Essica's Chariot is Essica's Chariot. Of course it's good. You know it, I know it, it's just good. I will say it may be a little better here than in some other decks, as it has an ETB that makes creature tokens you can use to crew vehicles, as well as copying that effect each turn with Saheeli, though you'll have to sacrifice the copy when it enters since it is legendary. It also makes a token copy of whatever Saheeli copied, meaning you can make a permanent copy of whatever Saheeli makes. It's a great card, and even better here than in some other decks. I'd run 6 if I could. Horde Hauler is probably not that great of a card, but I like it. It relies on your opponent a lot, but most players usually end up controlling at least a mana rock or 2 or some artifact tokens, so you'll at least get some decent treasure, especially with Saheeli copying it to double up on the effect. It's probably only fine, but I like it, so I run it. Hull Drifter is Mole Drifter, not to be confused with Null Drifter, which is also Mole Drifter, but it's not Hull Drifter, since Null Drifter came first. Well, Mole Drifter came first, but I mean Null Drifter came before Mole Drifter. Wait. Null Drifter came before Hull Drifter, which came after Mole Drifter. Whatever. It's a good card. 5 mana is a lot for most decks, but I think the payoff of drawing 2 each turn by copying it with Saheeli makes it worth it. Lumbering Worldwagon is a great way to ramp in here. Getting it on ETB and attack while also being able to make copies with Saheeli to get even more lands can get out of control really fast. This can get you up to 4 lands a turn, especially with the landfall synergies we have. One of the best cards in the deck. Silent Submersible is another way to get a decent draw outlet going. Not much to say, it's a basic way to get a draw or two in addition to your normal ones when you need it. I don't know. Thunderous Velocipede is a big trampler that makes your creatures bigger, which helps with some of our other cards like the Hydras and Overclocked Electromancer. But it also makes your Saheeli tokens a 6/6 at minimum and an 8/8 at best. This is a great card. Ovaya Automech Artisan lets you cheat in any vehicles you want, even then you can do it twice a turn if you copy it, while also making your vehicles you cheat in even bigger. It giving all your other creatures trample is a pretty nice bonus as well. The 3 roads are decent lands, giving you a pilot token in a pinch. They're not the best lands out there or anything, but I do like them. I'm running Reef and Rocky since we're usually good on green mana, and the is it part of our deck is usually more important than the green part. As for more vehicles and vehicle support you can run that we don't, there's a lot. So, like usual with more vague or open-ended stuff we cover, here's just some highlights. Bessie the Doctor's Roadster, which is not something I'd ever thought I'd say in a Magic the Gathering video, can make a legendary creature you control unblockable, which is, okay, if you run enough legendary creatures you want to punch with, it's not great, but it can be a little helpful if your build supports it. Boommobile is decent. You can copy with Saheeli to get 5 mana to spend on your abilities, and since exhaust is per copy, you can use the token copy's exhaust ability each turn with the copy you make, which is fine enough as a finisher. Clown Car makes a bunch of tokens you can use to crew vehicles, but keep in mind that if you make a copy, X is going to equal 0, so copying it doesn't do anything. But it's fine as a one-time ETB, I suppose. Dodgy Jalopy can become a massive finisher, but keep in mind that if you copy it, the copy stays a 5/5 and will not have its power change. Either way, it can be a decently big creature on its own. Enchanted Carriage is... okay, it's a worse Essica's Chariot. It costs more and makes smaller tokens, but it's not the end of the world. If Essica's Chariot was still expensive, this would be a perfectly fine replacement. It may be worth running for the fun factor alone of a tiny-ass mouse piloting a gigantic death machine, though. Filgry Racer is a great card. The energy ETB pays for Saheeli's effect by itself. It's just that the second effect is not super helpful here, since we don't really have a ton of instants and sorceries we're desperate to copy. But if you run more or really want to copy your non-permanents, it's an okay pick. Imposter Mech is weird. It enters as a copy of something, if you choose to, and the token you make with Saheeli becomes a copy of what it copied, and if you choose not to copy something with it, you can make the copy Saheeli makes into a copy of something else when it ETBs? I think? I'll be honest, I'm not sure. It's confusing and not worth the headache in my opinion, but I mean, if you want to run it and don't mind that, go ahead. Midnight Crusader Shuttle is decent. Its Villainous Choice ability makes it a pretty good thing to copy with Saheeli for an attack, stealing, or killing something. Most of the time your opponent's going to sacrifice something small, but it's still a pretty good card. Mobile Homestead is fine. It can help you ramp in very specific instances where you have a land on top, but I personally don't think it's worth it. Nautiloid Ship is great, but I don't want to pay $7 for this. It can empty graveyards and steal some stuff, and since it's worded in a way where it remembers what was exiled with it, Saheeli copies take them as well. If you can afford it and your playgroup doesn't mind stealing effects and grave hate, go for it. Reaver Titan can end games instantly by doing 10 damage to each opponent if it and a copy of it attacks, which is an insane game ender. It also has pretty great protection since most of removal spells are 3 or less. It's also $20. Rocket Ship is funny since you can pick a different sticker every time you copy it, but your playgroup may not be into stickers, so keep that in mind. Rolling Hamsphere creates a massive board of hamsters and does great damage with it. That is the greatest sentence I've ever said in my life. Do you need any more? Okay, fine. The copy also keeps the +X effect, so you can make this get out of hand insanely fast. It's 7 mana, which is a lot. If I can find room and find that my ramp is sufficient for it, I'll probably add it, honestly, just because it's funny. The Regalia gets you some decent ramp as well as the funny factor of having robots and thopters drive a fucking car. Hi, Future Jira here, I guess. I forgot to talk about the cards that we don't run but you can, that are vehicle matters. I didn't think about it because I think we only run 2 vehicle matters cards in the deck. So I guess here's a quick rundown of them. Balthier and Friend gives your vehicles vigilance and reach, which is pretty decent, and it also gets you another combat, which can let you copy another thing with Saheeli since it's at the start of combat. Run if it looks fun to you. Fearless Swashbuckler is a good draw outlet, and if you copy it, you can draw 6 cards and discard 4. I feel we have enough draw power, and I don't like that it is forced, since we don't have a ton of revival to recur stuff that we discard with, but I can see finding it fun. Muyan Ling is fine. Gives your vehicles flying and gets you a draw when you connect with them. Just don't have room for it. Push the Limit is an okay revival spell, but in testing, my grave was never nearly full enough of vehicles for it to be worth 7 mana for me. Chandra Spark Hunter put my budget over the limit, but it's fine. The static effect is okay, the aristocrat effect isn't going to come up too much from my experience. Its second effect is meh, and its ultimate is like, fine I guess, but nothing too special. You can run it if you want. Okay, that's all I had to say, but bye. There's a lot more vehicles, but those are some of the better ones. I'd still look at vehicles outside of this to see if there's any you want to run that I didn't mention. Small section time, let's talk about the Artifact Matters stuff. Dalekos is a pretty good mana dork as well as a pretty decent defender. Its second effect is not going to come up, so unless you have an equipment sub-theme for some reason, you can ignore that. Enthusiastic Mechnut may be the shortest time I have ever given a card after this sentence. It makes your artifacts cheaper, and you can copy it to double up on that effect. Kappa Cannoneer is an annoying card to deal with due to its big ward cost, and the ability to practically cast it for free by tapping down some artifacts, while also making itself bigger. Making a copy of Saheeli even makes it a 6/6 unblockable with ward. It's great, it's a great card that can turn into a decent finisher if you have enough small artifacts. Padim's art freaks me out and I hate looking at it, but I'll put my biases aside and say that it's a really good card, giving all of your artifacts pretty damn good protection while also giving you a nice little draw outlet as a bonus. Thopter Spy Network makes you a little army of Thopters over time and gets you a draw or 2 on most turns. I like it. Spire of Industry is a good land. One with the Machines is a good draw spell. Thoughtcast is a good draw spell. As for ones we don't run, it's such a general theme that this is going to be a nightmare, but I guess here's some. Cyberman Squadron can get out of hand very fast, getting you copies of the copies Saheeli made for massive vehicles, which can help end games. I just think 7 mana is a lot, and $12 is also a lot. Jehoria? Am I saying that right? Weatherlight Captain is yet another decent draw outlet if you play a lot of smaller artifacts instead of less big ones. Not much to say that I haven't said about other cards. Master Transmuter is a good way to cheat out artifacts from your hand, which helps with some of the bigger vehicles that may be clogging it up. I just wanted the deck under $30, and this put it slightly over budget. If you don't care about that, I recommend it. Psy Master Thopterus gets you a Thopter when you cast an artifact, but you honestly don't cast a ton of them. This is more so a deck where you play a 4 or 5 mana vehicle or big artifact, not one where you play a bunch of little ones. The draw effect is fine, but we don't really need aristocrat stuff in here. It's an okay card, just not a good fit for our specific build. If your build aligns with it better, go for it. Stride Hanger Automaton is only kinda artifact matters. It's more Thopter matters, but I don't know where else I would put this. So it's a decent Thopter Lord that also gives you a way to make some extra ones. It's a pretty good card that makes for a pretty decent defender. It's just a little too expensive in my opinion, money-wise. Adaptive Omnitool is a decent equipment. It gives a pretty good boost and has a great attack ability. It just put me over my budget slightly, so I removed it. Esoteric Duplicator can basically let you pay 2 mana to make your Saheeli copies permanent, which is great. It's just $4, so out of my budget. I recommend it 100% if it doesn't mess up your budget. Repurposing Bay is weird. It lets you turn any artifact into a slightly more expensive one from your library. It's great, especially since the token copies Saheeli makes have mana value, but I'm gonna be honest, it's not worth the math. Every time I've played it, I sat there and like, okay, so this is a 4-mana artifact. If I sacrifice this, I can get a 5-mana one. What the hell are my 5-mana ones? I think. And then I give up, sack it, search, and realize I don't have any targets, and I have to undo the board state, and it's just annoying. If you can deal with that easier, then go for it. Simulacrum Synthesizer is good. Simulacrum Synthesizer is also $40. Worldwalker Helm gets you a little token whenever you make a Saheeli copy, and just like Esoteric, also lets you keep your Saheeli tokens. It's just $8 and blah 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 blah, and you know. Desynchronization bounces everything but your artifacts and legendaries, so it's a one-sided board wipe 99% of the time. If you have a board full of big artifact creatures, then it's a game ender. It's just $7, which is a running theme with this fucking deck. War of Invention's a great search spell. It also costs a lot of money. I could go on for ages. It's such a general fucking topic that there's literally thousands of cards. It's not even like the Baitor video where I at least tried to look at every single life gain card that was at all decent to have some idea of what to add. There's just no way I can look over every single Artifact Matters cards. So just put in some of your favorites that I didn't mention. Okay, so probably super short section. Here's some fun stuff to copy that I run, as well as some other stuff that helps the copy effects, but didn't fit a previous section. There's not a lot, since most of the time the thing we want to copy is vehicles, but here we go. Brutaclad can turn all of your little Thopters and constructs you may have lying around into an army of copies that Saheeli makes, which can absolutely be bonkers if you make them big enough or have an insane ability to copy. It's a great card in here, but I'd understand if keeping track of this shit is so annoying to you and you just don't want to run it. Garruk's Uprising is a good card to copy, getting you a draw when the copy ETBs, as well as doubling up on draws if you cast big stuff in your second main phase. It also lets you draw whenever you use Saheeli's effect on its own, which is a nice plus. Octomancer is another way to keep Saheeli tokens around, while also giving you the ability to copy your opponent's tokens if they happen to be making them, since it's at every end step and not just yours. Great card, though a bit of a mana sink. Rampant Rejuvenator lets you get 5 lands when you sacrifice the copy, getting you a bunch of ramp as well as landfall triggers for any of the landfall cards I've mentioned. It's great. It was originally too expensive for my build, but Final Fantasy reprinted it, so it's a cheap and great addition to the deck now. Solemn Simulacrum may not be as much of a staple as it used to be, but it's still good in here, ramping you and getting you a draw each turn if you copy with Saheeli. Not much to say. Thought Monitor draws you 2 on ETB. It's good to copy. Next card. Threefold Thunder Hulk becomes an 8/8 if you copy it, and gets you 6 Golem tokens, while also giving you a sack outlet if you need it. 7 mana is a lot, but I think this guy's cool enough so that I don't give a shit. Triplicate Titan is fun. 9 mana is a lot, but if you copy your Saheeli, you can constantly get a board of pretty good artifacts every time the copy dies. I get if it's too costly mana-wise, but I feel having 1 or 2 massive guys is fine for the deck, just not too many. Whirler Rogue makes 2 Thopters on ETB. It's good to copy. As for the ones we don't run, anything you want to copy or think would help? Huh? What do you mean that's a cop-out? Fine, okay. Giggling Skitterspike deals 5 damage to each opponent, and becoming 10 with the original and the copy attacking. It can be a pretty good finisher. Lifeblood Hydra gains you 5 life and draws you 5 cards when it dies for copy, which is nice. I just think he's neat. Lithoform Engine lets you copy Saheeli's ability and make extra tokens with it. It's just expensive money-wise. Radiant Performer is great, and I'll put it in when I find room. If you cast it with Flash, as you use Saheeli's ability, it will copy every permanent you control. So you'll get copies of all your creatures, lands, enchantments, artifacts, everything. This can either be insane ramp or an amazing finisher, all for 5 mana. Tanuki Transplanter gets you 5 mana for copying it, and you get to keep it after the combat phase, unlike some other stuff that adds mana as an ETB. If you need more mana and don't mind training 3 energy for 5 mana, go for it. Scrapper Champion's energy ability doesn't matter. It's the fact that for 3 energy, you get 2 of that energy back, and get a 5/5 double striker that makes it good. I just don't have room. Wormcoil Engine is the same as Triplicate Titan. Yeah. Hithlane Rope can't be sacrificed, so you can keep the copies and have an okay outlet for ramp or card draw, and if you wait until you have 2, you can just keep doing it every turn. You will have to give it to the opponent still, but it's still a fun thing to copy. Okay, I could really be here all day. Those are just some cool things that I found. You're really just going to have to think of cool stuff you want to copy on your own other than this, dude. Whoa, 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 whoa. Isn't there normally a good stuff section? Yeah, there is. But not this time. It's literally 2 cards. Beast Within and Chaos Warp. and there's nothing to say about them, to be perfectly honest with you. Like, you can Chaos Warp the copy you make to get a permanent from the top. Is that anything? Whatever. We're just going to skip right to the ramp this time. In terms of ramping, we have Cultivate and Rampant Growth, as well as cards we talked about earlier, like Rampaging Rejuvenator, Solemn Simulacrum, and Lumbering Worldwagon. In terms of mana rocks, we run Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, Felwar Stone, and Talisman of Curiosity, as well as cards we mentioned before, like Etheric Amplifier and Conversion Apparatus. A really short section, but it's because all the ramp really we talked about before, outside of the ones that every deck runs, basically. So next section, I don't know. So as usual, I tend to run 7 of each basic land for a total of 21 since it's a 3-color deck, as well as the usual stuff like Frontier, this thing, Bounce Lands, Path of Ancestry, and so on. There's also the roads, which we talked about before. We also run some slightly more specific stuff like Spire of Industry and Aether Hub, which we also mentioned before. Rush of Inspiration is a decent draw spell that lets you ditch the discard for a little bit of energy, but the big thing is it's also a land on the other side, and the versatility really helps a lot, trust me. As for some general tips, keep track of types. Saheeli works on artificers as well as artifacts, and I've had and seen times where someone doesn't realize what they just cast is an artificer, and they forgot to get an energy from it. Also keep in mind that it's on cast and not on ETB. So tokens or revival or blink effects or anything like that will not count, but stuff like Unearth will count. Keeping track of energy can be a fucking nightmare, especially when you pop off and get into the 20s and 30s. I'd recommend using an infinite token and drawing black dots to represent them, or just writing the number you have, since sometimes you'll want to stock up on energy. There's also counting apps on phones that can help. As for some additional sub-themes you can run, you can go for a minor populate theme in order to keep the tokens Saheeli makes. You can also include more pod and polymorph effects to make use of the token more before it dies at the end of your turn. You can also include some more infinites, like using mechanized production with Gonti's Aether Heart to get infinite turns, as long as you have a way to get enough energy each turn. Given that your play group allows it, make sure that your play group is cool with infinites and shit before you try putting them in here. Hi, it's everyone's favorite part. The part where I go over the deck in terms of, like, to talk about anything that I might have missed. As always, this is the improvised section, so this is going to be, I'm going to finagle my words a lot. I originally thought 28 creatures was absurdly low, but then I realized that, like, the vehicles can earn artifacts, and those, I think those should count. Like, you could put those in the creature section. They might as well be creatures. So we're actually running like 38 creatures or something insane. Probably more. What else do I want to talk about, I guess? One of the issues is that there's so many fucking vehicles. Because there's, like, been multiple sets with vehicles. And so it's hard to, like, narrow it down because of how many vehicles there just are. This is one of the hardest decks that I've ever had to make in terms of cutting something from 100 and, like 105 to, like, 100. You know what I mean? In terms of our colors, I actually want to see how good our colors are. There's barely any red. It's mostly green and blue. I thought it was mostly an Izzet deck. I think I mentioned that in the actual script or whatever. That I thought this was more of an Izzet deck, like more red and blue, because that's the artifact colors. And the green is just for ramp and shit. But I guess not. I guess there is some decent stuff to copy, and there is some energy matter stuff in the green. I'm thankful this precon happened, because I was annoyed that if you wanted to play energy, the only energy commanders we had were all Jeskai. And that's just, like I said at the start, I hate when there's only one, like, color pairing or whatever for a card type, unless it's like maybe for a typo thing. But even then, I usually like typals being spread across 3 colors, so that you can do a 3-color deck or different versions. Like vampires are red, white, black, so you could do red, white vampires, white, black vampires, black, white. It adds variety or whatever. You can just do 3-color vampires, but I mean, that's lame. It's not lame. If you play Mardu vampires, you're not lame. I'm just being a jerk. This is our mana, whatever you want to call it. What is it again? I forgot. Mana curve. I'm an idiot. I'm tired. It's hot. These are some cards that I've really been considering that I didn't mention in the video, but I probably should have. So just look at these or whatever. If you want some extra cards that I didn't have time to mention. I think I mentioned Repurposing Bay. I don't know if, and I mentioned Clown Car. Some of these I mentioned, some of these I didn't. But it's just that the video was like 40 minutes and I could just go on forever. There's so many creatures that work with this. There's so many like vehicles. It's just crazy, man. Let's do a test hand. How do I want to do this? I was going to roll a dice, and that's how many times I press deal another hand. But my dice is gone. I don't know where it is right now. So I'm just going to do 3. 1, 2, 3. Is this playable? I don't like keeping hands of Soul Ring for testing purposes. Because a hand with Soul Ring is like an ideal scenario. You know what I mean? So we go for 6 turns. So we're going to go, I guess Island Pass. And then I'll draw for turn. Let's go with another island, and then, yeah, it's 2 blue. I wanted, if it was 1 in a blue, I would play a forest, because, you know, more colors. The thing is, this has crew 2, so we're not going to be able to do anything next turn, probably, with it, but we'll see. Gonti's a pretty good card. I'm going to play a forest in order to, you know, have variety in here. I'm not going to do that, because that's not good for this point in the game. That's 4 mana, dude. And I don't want to do that anyway, because I would get 3 energy from it. I think I would just keep the submersible, right? And this would cost 3 in a blue. We're not doing that yet. Okay. Ooh, we don't have access to red. We don't have any energy to... We do, but I'd have to... I want to go for this for the red, right? And then I can... I do have 4, so I'm going to do that. 1... No, I don't want to cast Saheeli because you usually don't want to cast until you have an energy stockpile. So I'm going to do blue and a red. I have an energy because of this. I'm going to pay that energy to get this and play this. We're wide open, though. That's the issue. We're going to go to 10 turns because I think this deck might just be a little slow. Colorless, blue, her. And then landfall, we get an energy, but we get 2 energy, right? Yeah, we get another energy. So we're going to go to counters, energy. I thought the energy counters are up here. We have to keep track of it like that. That's lame. And then I think I would pass. I would have a 1/3 defender at least. That's pretty good. We have another energy because I played a swamp, a mountain. I've been black-pilled lately in terms of magic decks, I guess. This will get us 4 energy. I think that's pretty good. We don't have 6, right? Do we have access to 6 mana? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No. And this costs that. So let's go 3 and a green, I guess. I guess we'll have to do her, and we'll get 3 energy. 4 energy. Oops. 7, not 8. And then we haven't paid that much energy. Do I want to pay... I don't want to pay 6 energy to draw... I guess I could. I'll pay 6 energy to draw 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. And then I can tap this to draw an additional card. And then that gets us going. Have I played a land this turn? We're on turn 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I did. And our hand's fine, so we're good with that. God, one of my favorite cards. In the deck at least. We're going to go with a mountain. 1 blue red because I want a mana dork right now. We need to generate more energy. I think I played a land this turn, right? Yeah, so I'm going to get another energy. So I have 2 at least. But I get another energy because of the, is it Generatorium or whatever you want to call it? I can crew this. So I'm going to crew this, swing with this, and then I would draw a card because I would assume it got through. There's no way to tell. That's the worst thing about testing like this. I'll draw for turn. We're at turn 8. We're almost at the end. Let's go for 1, 2 green. For you. Enters, so I can search my library for basic land, put it onto the battlefield tapped. So we're going to view library. We need a second forest, so that's what we're going to go for, is another forest. If I can find one, there it is. Close and shuffle. And then, can I cast my commander? 1, 2, yes I can. 3, 4. So there's, I'm going to cast her, our Saheeli. And then we also have 2 mana left over as a mana dork. That should be fine. Draw. That's a pretty good card. We have decent draw outlet at least. So this costs 3, 2, 1. This costs 1 in a blue. Sure, I'll do that. 1 in a blue, thought cast, draw 2 cards. Chaos Whip's pretty good. 1, I don't want to do this, because I can... How much energy do I have? I didn't play a land this turn, I don't think. So, we have a lot of islands. We're going to get 2 more energy, so we have 5. Now here's the fun thing. We can... crew 4, huh? I say 3, 4 to crew this. And then... At the beginning of combat on our turn, I will make a copy of this. So is there make a token copy? Yes. Token copy. It enters, we get another land. Let's go for another forest, I guess. And then we get 2 energy. But we paid 3, right? So we paid 3. And then attack. We get 2 more basic lands. God, I love this card. We're gonna get a mountain, and I guess a forest because we have enough island. We have enough fucking islands. Close and shuffle. We get 4 energy. I think that's 6 energy actually. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go 4 because I think I did get the 2 from the other thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We'd have to discard. That's tough because everything in our hand I kind of want to keep. 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I want to keep enough for a counter spell, but I don't think we can. So let's go with that. It enters with 3 +1/+1 counters on it. We get 3 tokens. So where's the add token? It's a construct, right? Is it a construct or a golem? Is it a construct or a golem? I want to be correct. It's a gnome. 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 That's 3 fucking gnomes. Okay, this seems pretty fucking good. And then the final turn. Okay, I was scared we wouldn't show off the deck as well as we could. But this seems pretty fucking good, dude. Play a land, get 2 more energy. Oh, this token's dead. And here's the thing. I can make 8 tokens, or I can get another 2 lands. Or I could just do other stuff. Like I can tap 2 and then colorless for this. Sure. Let's pay 6. And then how much energy? Pay this and pay 6 energy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Look at the top 6 and play a card from among them for free. If they're all lands, I'm crying. No, they're not. Essica's Chariot's pretty good. Ooh, top monitor gets us extra draws. Do they go to the top in any order or bottom? Bottom. Bottom means we're never going to see them again, probably. I'll go with Essica's Chariot. Please don't do what I'm doing, by the way. You should keep... You should keep your vehicles and your creatures separate. But I'm not doing that because it's for the sake of hand testing. That was the final turn, though. We'll make a token copy. Right? This token copy is an 8/8. And then I get to make fucking more of these. Where's copy? Goddamn. Add token. I'm just gonna, okay, I'm gonna do the thing that most people do with tokens. I'm gonna have 2 of them. This one's gonna have 8 counters. And this one's gonna have 8 counters. This is to show how many... Actually, it won't be. Where's remove all counters? Reset counters. So this will be the ones that are attacking. Set counters to 0. Gosh dang. I actually want to set it to 1. I don't know why I did that. So that way we can tell which ones are attacking, which ones aren't, or whatever. So of 8, we can say 3 are attacking right now or whatever. But we're probably going to use them crew vehicles instead. And And we also have an 8/8 attacker, plus like, God, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like an 11 power fucking land searcher. Ramp piece or whatever. We also have extra card draw with Garruk's Uprising. We can make some Thopters with Roller Rogue. We have a counter spell if we keep the right mana up. We can get rid of a problem piece. We can take an extra turn. We have Chaos Warp, which is one of the best removal cards in the game. I think it's pretty fucking good, dude. I really like this. Yeah, that's what this deck can do in 10 turns. I usually go 10 or whatever. It's hard because a lot of Commander games don't even go to 10 turns these days. I don't know if there's anything else I really want to mention specifically. I don't think there's any errors I need to correct in the video. And I don't think there's anything I feel like I didn't talk about enough or whatever. That's it. I guess I will see you guys at a later date. Hi, that was a long video. I'm not going to keep you long because I kept you for 50 minutes, so I'm going to make this outro short. I have a Let's Play channel that's in the description. I usually talk about, at least somewhat, what's going on with this channel and updates on how that's going. I also have a Blue Sky where I also post updates, and you can follow me there. I have a Mox Field in the description if you want to look at the deck. Obviously, the deck is also going to be linked in the description. And I have a Ko-fi. If you want to donate a few bucks here or there, you can do so. That's all I really wanted to say this time. If this isn't out in September, if this is out in September, I'm sorry I didn't get a video out in August. I don't know. Bye. I don't want to keep you for too long, so that's all I have to say. Bye.